Now that's real.
Welcome back to Real Faith Conversations, where we try to talk about life, culture, and faith in the most genuine way possible. My name is Rachel Bowman, and I am joined here today by Mr. Ryan Morris. Once again. Good to have you. In this episode, we're going to talk about the severity of being in a toxic or abusive relationship, while also sharing some personal experiences from that.
Yeah, and we always like to, whenever we talk about certain topics like this that are really emotionally charged, we always like to do a warning. So this is an emotionally charged topic that could bring back some pretty bad memories of abuse in relationships or in your life, maybe from family members too. If you or anyone you know is struggling with abuse, please seek help, and we have links in the description for you if you want to seek help or if you just want to learn more about the resources out there for others. So
Right.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
And so let's dive into this topic because, I know we like to be cheery, but we also like to be sad. We also like to be serious in this show. Mix of emotions. This is more serious, but we'll try to be lighthearted about it in a certain way. But this is a definitely serious topic. And so abusive relationships. What is it? What kind of involves? What is involved with an abusive relationship? And, of course, Google's our friend here. So basically it's, when there's humiliation, neglect, or even criticizing in a relationship, there could be, control, shaming someone into doing something or just having shame in general. There could be accusations, blaming, and, a lot of times people deny that this stuff is happening because they just don't want to believe it, which leads to emotional neglect and isolation. But also this key word of codependency. Yeah, I had to look it up too. Codependency. It's basically this excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, right? That could be a boyfriend, that could be a girlfriend, it could be other significant people in your life, but it's typically one who requires support on account of an illness or an addiction. So they may have some emotional issues going on or an addiction happening.
Right.
Rachel, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so just kind of the idea of codependency, and I'll kind of focus on that word specifically at the moment. It's the honest inability to do things without this other person. And so it's not at the surface level of, oh, I can't go to the store without this person, I'm nervous to go by myself, or oh, I don't want to go out to dinner by myself, I'm going to go with this. It's this idea of I can't survive as a person without this person. Without this person, I am nothing and no one. And I think when you get to that point, it can be super, super problematic when you're looking at your own mental health of, I can't even be somebody without this person. You lose that idea of being an individual. And sometimes in certain relationships, that's what the other person wants. They want to see you kind of lose your independence, and now you need them. And so that now they feel needed. And when they feel needed, that's when, they feel their best at the expense of somebody else.
When they feel needed, you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's this idea of this person can't do anything. And if we're flipping around, this person can't do anything without me. I must be that important. And so a lot of that is kind of these narcissistic tendencies of I'm the most important person here. There is no 50-50. There is no me and you. It's me and you're behind me and you're following me. And so that can get really difficult in just going through your day-to-day life, especially when it's this person who needs this attention all the time. And I remember, for me personally, I am very lucky to not have been in any physical abusive relationships. That is something I definitely thank God for, because a lot of people go through that, and it's incredibly sad to see, especially when it's there's that denial there of, no, but this person's such a good person. You just have to see the good side of them. You just can't make them mad. And so it's super sad to see. But, for me personally, I remember many times where, I'm out with friends or whatever, and I have to be on my phone. I have to be answering this person every 5 minutes, or they're going to assume the worst. And then I'm going to have to spend the rest of my night trying to make them feel better. And so I don't even get to enjoy my time anymore. I don't get to be able to make these relationships with my friends because this other person is now assuming that, I must be getting really close with them. And it's this idea of you can't have anybody else but me. And so when that control becomes, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go out. Sorry, guys. Like, I'd rather be at home and on the phone with this person, because if not, then I have to pay for that later on. And
Wow.
that's hard, especially like that was difficult for me at this age, but I had been in previous relationships, as young as like 13, 14.
Oh my gosh.
Where it was like that dynamic of, even like threatening each other with, if you hurt yourself, I'll hurt myself. And like no relationship should be based around that. That's not healthy at all. But it can get really easy to rationalize a lot of things and make a lot of things okay in your mind because of the love you have for this person and you want to see them get better. But sometimes that's most of the time that's something they have to do on their own. They have to figure that out. They have to, take the steps and get professional help if it's needed. And sometimes they don't, and it shouldn't be up to somebody else to kind of fix a person like that. I mean, especially when you're like, 14 years old,
Yeah.
at that point I was in a long distance relationship for 2 years, and, I personally don't want any of that to reflect on my parents, because it wasn't a matter of how they were raising me. It was a matter of how I was choosing to get into things because I wanted to grow up fast. I wanted to be doing what adults were doing. And in turn, that led me into a lot of, not good situations where I didn't really have the idea of self-worth and what I deserved. And it was always about the other person. And, oh, I can help, I can fix. And that idea of I want to fix people definitely followed me into a lot of my relationships where I would end up with these people who were hurting or were going through their own mental stuff at that point, and I felt like I could do something for that, when in reality it's not about me, it's about what they're doing. And again, in turn, that kind of led to, whether it was purposeful or not, this amount of emotional abuse, neglect, where it was my feelings don't really matter. You may tell me they do, but they don't really. And a lot of that became apparent when it was I couldn't even bring up certain issues because I knew it would start a fight, and at the end of the day it would be my fault and I would be apologizing, and I would have to tell this person how great they really are, and this thing that I might have called them out on, it's not that bad. I know that you're going through a hard time, so it's okay. And it's that idea of rationalizing again that
Wow.
it can just turn into this cycle of, well, now I'm trapped. There's nowhere else I can go. And also the idea of this is the only person who will ever love and understand me. There's nobody else that can do that. And that can be something that's, again, purposefully done, or, with immaturity and not really understanding how to navigate certain emotions and feelings. It can kind of just happen. And if it's not called out quickly enough, or early enough within the relationship, it'll just continue, and that cycle can only become worse.